with these two batteries, it should be able to at least last over 10 hours or even more.
For this mod, you're gonna need your PS4 controller. Then you will also need 18650 batteries. These are 3.7 volts, the same voltage as normal PS4 battery, but each of these has 3000 milliamps, so we're going to be wiring them parallel. Put them in a total of 6000 milliamps of battery life compared to the 1000 milliamps that the PS4 controller battery has. And for these 18650s, 3000 milliamps is really the best capacity size you can find on the internet without them being fake Chinese knockoffs. And I'll have a link in the description for a couple of varieties of these batteries, because you can get them in lower sizes as well, because these are about the most expensive ones you can get on it. You are going to need some 18650 battery holders. I'll have a link in the description for these two. They're fairly cheap. Now we are going to need the connector piece from the battery, the old PS4 controller battery. Now if you have an old PS3 controller parts that you don't care about, you can just cut off the end of PS3 controller battery. That's what I am going to be doing, because the plug is the same, but you can just use your PS4 controller one and drop the end off if you want to do this mod. Now if you have heat shrink, I would recommend using that, but if not, you can just use electrical tape. You will need a Phillips screwdriver, and you'll need something to cut wires and strip them as well. It's also recommended just to have a knife or a flathead screwdriver to pry open parts of the PS4 controller. You're going to need a drill. You are also going to need a drill bit. The drill bit that I ended up using was a 9/64. You will also need a glue gun and a soldering iron. So for the first part here, grab a screwdriver, and you're going to be taking out the 4 screws on the back of the controller. I'm pointing them out right here. You can see I only have 2. That is because when I initially tried to do this mod, I tried putting the batteries inside the controller and didn't really work out too well. And then once you get these screws off, you can either grab a flathead screwdriver or a carpenter's knife. Something like that will work. And you're gonna have to pop open the tab kind of in the front here, and there's 2 on the side. And when you pry it open, as you can see, mine does not have connection piece between the button and the trigger. One of the things I also screwed up when I tried to do this mod. So mine comes off really easy, but yours you might have to kind of flip forward and might have to move around the triggers a bit. And you can unplug the charger and light ribbon there. Take note of how it goes in the ribbon, otherwise you're charging and the light will not work. Undo your battery, and then you can take this black plastic piece out that holds the battery. I will not be putting it back in, as all it's useful after this is for the reset button. So you can go ahead and plug in your glue stick, and we can get started on the mod. So right off the bat here, you might want to kind of just hold the controller and kind of find where these placement of these battery holders is going to be the best for you. But for me, I kind of found it was, kind of just a little bit off away from the micro USB port, and I'm going to be placing it like this. And I'm going to be leaving a bit of gap there for the micro USB cable to still be able to be plugged in. And these holders have a hole there, so there was just some glue came out, and I'm just scraping it off there. And I'm just making sure that the cord plugs in right here. And then placing my other one here, and I'm placing it so the holders, the negative sides, are facing, I guess, upwards towards the controller. I want to say. It's just a good idea that you have both of them facing the same way, because we are going to be wiring the batteries in parallel to double the milliamps. And here I'm just putting some more glue along the sides of the battery holders, just to kind of reinforce it. It's not really aesthetically making it look good, but that's kind of up to you if you want to reinforce it more or not. And your color should look something like this. For this next part, you can grab your drill, and I drilled my hole, as you can see, right under that little dot. And I'm using a 9th or 64th drill bit. You could really drill it anywhere that's comfortable for you, but I decided to drill it here. Just drilled on the other side just to make sure it was a smooth hole. Sorry, I think the shot's a bit out of focus, but kind of just ran the wires through the hole like this, and I think at some point I actually hot glued the wires at the hole there, just so they didn't move. You can do that as well. And you can grab an old PS3 controller battery, or you can use your PS4 one if you want to sacrifice it, or if you can find this connector anywhere else. But you can see I already cut mine, and you're probably not going to want to cut it right at the end of the battery in case you want to reuse that battery for something later on. So what I was doing here is I was cutting the positive wires from the battery connectors to be about the same length as the negative, and then I was stripping the wire so we can solder them. And so we're going to be soldering the positive end from each of the battery connectors to the positive end of the connection that we took from the PS3 controller battery, and same with the negative. So we're going to be we're wiring them in parallel so that we can double our milliamps here, making our PS4 controller last longer. If we were to wire them in series, that would double the voltage and apply too much voltage to the motherboard and probably fry it, so we don't want to do that. So you can turn on your soldering iron, and then what we're going to be doing is soldering the two wires of the battery connectors together, the negative and the positive, and then we're going to be soldering the negative from the battery connector to the battery holders, and same with the positive. And then it should look a little bit like this. So if you have some heat shrink, you can use that to cover up the solder connections we made, or you can just use electrical tape like I did, just so nothing short circuits. Also, I used my glue gun and hot glued down the wires here just so they didn't come in and out of the case. And then next I just grabbed the 18650 batteries. I pried open that plastic a bit just because these holders are pretty snug and I don't want them too tight on the batteries. And then I just plugged it in and turned the controller on and made sure it worked, and my PS4 turned on and it's good. Now next, all you have to do is put your back on and make sure your ribbon is plugged in like mine there, where the blue piece is facing outwards to the right. Put your 4 screws in, and then turn it on and make sure it works.
Here's me using the controller. It's working fine. So I've been playing Mad Max for at least 7 hours over the past probably two and a half days, and my battery life over those 7 hours of playing, you can see my battery here still has about 3 bars left, so I'm assuming with these two batteries it should be able to at least last over 10 hours or even more, most likely. So that is 6,000 milliamps of battery life compared to the PS4 controller's normal 1,000 milliamps, so it should last you a long time. It does kind of suck that it's on the outside of the controller, the batteries are, but it's all on your preference if you don't mind that extra bulkiness. But yeah, if you guys like the video, please like it and subscribe.